One of the biggest names in pro-US propaganda, particularly when it comes to US imperialism, is Voice of America. Particularly Voice of America in X language, broadcasting into X country, giving you all kinds of falsehoods and twisted truths in order to prop up the US empire. Well, here's a very interesting story. We're talking about Voice of America in America. They have now been penalized for attacking their own journalists' right to free speech. That's right. They were found hindering the First Amendment rights of their own journalists. Now, this is significant because Voice of America is a company, a separate company, but overseen by Congress and funded by Congress. Now, it's better for we to get a more exact view of what exactly the complaint was that was made and what the judge ruled. In a 76-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Barry Howell found that Michael Pack, the CEO of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, and his team violated the First Amendment rights of its journalists. She also found that Pack and his team showed an extensive pattern of penalizing those U.S. AGM and network employees whom defendants regarded as insufficient supportive of President Trump. Howell's ruling bars Pack and others from continuing any actions that would curb VOA's editorial independence, including taking personal actions against journalists and editors attempting to influence content by communicating with individual journalists or editors and in investigating purported breaches of journalistic ethics. Defendants' extensive pattern of penalizing those of U.S. AGM and network employees whom the defendants regarded as insufficiently supporting President Trump has resulted in the termination, discipline, and investigation of multiple employees and journalists. So the story here is that the Voice of America, with the guy running the whole global media thing, who was appointed by Trump, has been censored and removed from his job for attacking people for not supporting Trump enough. There you go. Now, the response to a lawsuit filed by 5 senior executives of a U.S. AGM whom Pack had fired or suspended in August. The senior executives say that Pack and other top employees had sought to interfere with their work because it didn't align with the political interests of the current U.S. president, Trump, and asked for a preliminary injunction to stop the interference. The Voice of America is one of multiple U.S. government-funded broadcast outlets that, brings news to people, all over the world, as I said previously, and a lot of CIA money is in there, too. It was created in 1942 to combat Nazi propaganda, according to its website. Now, shortly after Pack took the helm of the job in June, the VOA's top officials resigned en masse. They all just walked out. Now, later that month, Pack fired 4 heads of organizations overseen by the agency in what was called the Wednesday Night Massacre. In other words, everybody who wasn't loyal to Trump, everybody who had a sense of what the First Amendment was, and people who know what journalism is, either walked out because this was complete nonsense, or they were fired because they didn't support Trump enough. Now, as if this wasn't enough, if this wasn't damning enough as it is, you know who Park is? He was best known as a documentary filmmaker with a very heavy conservative bent, as you imagine he would have, and a former ally of Steve Bannon. The Breitbart Steve Bannon, the former White House strategist Steve Bannon. And he was the president of the conservative Claremont Institute from 2015 to 2017. So this reveals a bit of more light onto what kind of interference there was on behalf of, I don't know, can you really say it's conservative values? Because this was really more of a pro-Trump thing than it was conservative values. Obviously, Park is very heavily on the conservative side. That much is beyond question. But what he's specifically being lambasted for here is his attacking people for not supporting Trump. I mean, you could be conservative and not support Trump. Wish there was more people like that. Well, I wish there was more conservatives like that. But specifically, he was getting rid of people for not supporting Trump enough. And there you have it. That's pretty much the Trump administration in a nutshell. And that's your U.S. tax dollars that are paying for it. For those of you who actually make enough money that you can actually afford to pay taxes. I'm not criticizing for people not paying taxes. I'm not criticizing people who are too poor to pay taxes. I'm criticizing people, who are rich enough to pay taxes and don't. Obviously, there's a very big difference in that case. So this, another big example, another disgusting thing by the Trump administration, showing that even interfering in the media in order to make sure it was supportive of him and not, freedom of speech or journalistic ethics. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.